Football Sunday with Steve, Matt, and Tad.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of College Football Sunday. I'm Steve. With me always is Stabs.
Evening, fellas.
All right. We also have Matt with us
What
today.
up? What up? What up?
All right. We got a couple of good things to talk about for y'all. We're going to talk about the Brendan Sorsby thing. We have a fantasy coaches bracket, and then who you got, and then the rivalry games that we want back, and a rivalry trophy that we're going to talk about. And then we'll just talk about some random stuff at the end of the show. We will. So I'll go ahead and get started with this Brendan Sorsby thing. He got caught. He got caught betting, and the court has to not allow him to come back. They can't. They cannot let him come back. What you think, Matt?
Yeah, it is a wild situation when you're betting on 3 average 6-6 teams from those years pretty consistently. But when you're nickel and diming it, I mean, you obviously made enough that you're able to get friends involved. I know that it's, I'm a big believer and advocate for mental health. Honestly, genuinely, I am, and I'm not going to discredit his, his cry for help for mental health. I think that's a real thing, probably. I think it was driven by mania that he was involved in doing this and getting addicted to that high and chasing it constantly. But either way, like, highs have accountability and consequences, right? And so, I mean, while I think the NCAA as a governing body is an insane joke, and I think everybody at this point probably agrees with it, needs a counsel. I mean, the dude messed up, and who knows how much he made on the other side of it. If he made enough to give his friends $60,000 after wagering 90 over that course of time, I mean, he's got to be held accountable. And it's unfortunate because obviously the kid's talent is there, so it sucks. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. He got busted. He got, my friend. He got.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Matt, that it sucks. It's consequences. I mean, you're talking about a young kid that had all this in front of him to take a team that they thought, as far as having just one quarterback short of them making what they made the playoff last year. But the dude to make that decision, like I said, we were young all that, at one point, but it's not costing us like it's costing him, but we had consequences. And I remember hearing this when I was younger. It's like, look, you have freedom of choice, but you don't have freedom of consequences. You don't choose your punishment. Your punishment is within the rules and within the laws. So you just got to deal with it. I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow. I understand you have people influential behind you, pushing, probably telling you, hey, we got this, or we can do this and got that. You got your hopes up. But the NCAA right now is standing to their guns and saying, no, you can't play, because there's further repercussions that can take place after this if we allow you to play. And we allow you to say, okay, well, we scratched, we let this guy gamble. And it's a big issue right now with college students in general. And there's so many other kids that's watching right now. And we let you slide, dude. It's like, oh, it's going to be an influx of guys. It's going to be probably gambling. If they get caught, they'll use the mental issue thing or addiction thing. And then right now, by state, we got judges, we got influential boosters behind them. And then it would be crazy. It would be straight chaotic to allow this guy to play. And I don't agree with it.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, I mean, and then you look at it. I mean, they got the numbers. He's caught. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from September 2nd to October 22nd, you made at least 40 bets on your team and players on the team. Nobody knows what the game. And this is back in the day before, when they didn't have to give out the injury report.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, okay, my running back over under 85 yards. Shoot, he ain't gonna get the ball 3 times. If he don't break one off, I'll take the under. I will, And then to say, this thing get me. 2 weeks before I got the start, I quit. I quit gambling. It made me feel like I was part of the team. You're on the team. What do you mean it makes you feel like you're part of the team? You're a scout team player. You're running the other team's offense. and you're preparing your defense for the game. You are part of the team. You don't need to gamble to do that, you know. And then for the NCAA to come out and just straight call them, they did. I mean, that to me, that was some of the funniest stuff that I saw. It was where the NCAA, Mr. Sorsby didn't come forward, he got caught. And when he got caught, then he went to treatment. And that's the first time you heard about this mental health issue control. He was found out by law enforcement, and that's what triggered this. This was a let's get ahead of it. Let's hopefully so we can keep our $5 million quarterback and all these big money boosters out there at Texas Tech and thinking that, oh yeah, well, he's got a problem. No. So to me, you can't allow it to happen because you set the precedent. And on your own team, I mean, look at what happened to Pete Rose. I'm not saying that's the same extreme, but they kept him out of Hall of Fame. He's probably the best one of the single hitters in Major League Baseball history.
That's true.
And he didn't get to make it because he bet. He never bet on his team to lose either. I mean, and he was betting as a coach. So he really, I mean, he had some influence in the game, but he wasn't out there hitting the ball and fielding. So that's what I think. I think they can't allow it. They can't. The lawyers for Sorsby is trying to say, oh, they're just his mental health. Not paying. They're just pushing it to the curb, and they don't care about it. And nah, I don't. I say you gotta let him go. You do. So what would y'all do? Me and Pat was talking about this earlier. What would you do if you're in Sorsby's position? You got the supplemental draft up. Do you go to supplemental, or do you sit out like the COVID kids and try to prepare for the next year's draft?
I think it's funny to call them the COVID kids still. I never get tired of hearing that. It's just funny. I mean, I think you sit it out. In my opinion. I mean, you've got the talent that you're probably going to get drafted if the NFL, turns a blind eye. But also, like, if you look at, I think the NFL is shifting the way they're drafting players, right? Like, I think that the tolerance of BS in the NFL is getting low. And you've got top round draft picks that have drama that are falling, late rounds and not going on the boards where Mel Kiper thinks because the GMs and owners are not dealing with crap like this anymore. And this guy's going to come with, a negative target on his back. I mean, look at, Johnny Manziel and things like that. They come with all the talent, but the drama that's after it, is it really worth it? Who knows? Like I fire him, I'm going to sit out and just be aggressively working on me all season to see if I got a shot to make it. Bare minimum, like you make a squad and then you work your way into, a chart, but either way you keep your dream alive. I think you get real quiet this next year. You don't really fight in courts. Courts obviously make news. Background in camps and, trainers and things like that don't. So, I mean, my opinion, like I'm going to shoot my shot to try to chase my dream against the NFL, but I'm going to be real quiet doing it.
Yeah, this is a decision you got to make. I think right now the forefront of it is probably supplemental draft because that's what keeps coming up. So obviously, there's something in the back of his mind right now because he and his team were in a rush to get the NCAA to make a quick decision. So that way they'll know what happens, beforehand before the supplemental draft closes. So I think it's sitting out is a good one. Is a great option for him versus, him trying to go into the supplemental draft. And that way you coming in late, you're probably going to be limited as far as reps, what team you go to. Or it can be a team that just take a chance on him and put him on the practice squad. I mean, I think there's a benefit of being on the practice squad to see how the league actually works and actually learning from a veteran quarterback possibly. And that way, once camp opens next year, I mean, he may be better prepared. As far as, prepping for the NFL and reading defenses and, things of that nature, or even with team chemistry with players on the practice squad. So I think that it still would be a good option to be on the squad to see how things operate. I don't know how much he's really hurting. I mean, maybe he's made some money at Cincinnati, can kind of hold him over until he actually gets the contract. I mean, this is just a good option. But I think for me, I think just keep playing, kind of helps them in the long run, prepping and preparing. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, like you said, maybe he did make some money, and if he didn't, hey, double down.
Mhm.
But I got it right here. The NCAA thing about betting, they actually send out. It says, "Don't bet on it." Imagine that. So the student athlete involved in sports wagering on the student athlete's institution permanently loses all remaining regular season and postseason eligibility in all sports. I mean, it's in black and white. The NCAA sends it out. They want everybody to know, and you got caught. So that's
Yeah.
my outlook on it. I'm like you was I kind of like sitting it out. My thing was when I was talking with Taz, is that I would sit it out, I would train, I would talk to them kids, who's the trainers I can work with. Texas Tech will probably let you show up to the pro day. I'll beg, plead, and borrow to get to the combine. And then
Mhm.
also you can show you went to treatment, show that you're doing better, you know what I'm saying, and build yourself back up. Because that 60, 90,000 that he bet cost them probably 20 to $30 million. With the money he's lost from this year, where he would have won the draft, to where
Mhm.
he's going to end up making. So, hey, you got to make better decisions. So, all right, well, that's gonna wrap that one up. We're gonna move on to this new thing that we got, y'all. Um, Taz, tell us what we got now.
Would you take? In today's segment, we have Herschel Walker and Bo Jackson. So, out of those, me personally, when we talked about it, I chose Bo. I mean, I was able to see more of both. I caught like more the tail end of Herschel. I did catch some of it, but I saw more of both. And like I said, you couldn't go wrong either way. Both of these dudes were dynamic. Both of these dudes were Heisman Trophy guys. But I think the all around, I just kind of chose Bo because of what the extra dynamic that he brought to his team. I mean, Herschel had speed, power also, but Bowles was on a different level. I really think it was just a totally different level. So here's some of the stats from Bo, which was he was 6'1", 230, 1983 consensus All American, 1985 unanimous All American, 1985 SEC Player of the Year, 3-time first team SEC. 1982, 127 attempts, 829 yards, 9 TDs. In 83, 158 attempts, 1,213 yards, 12 TDs. 84, 87 attempts, 475, 5 TDs. He was injured and came back in 85, 278 attempts, 1,786 yards, 17 touchdowns. With a total of 650 attempts, 4,300 yards, 43 TDs, averaging 159 yards per game. So that was my take on that guy. What you got, Matt?
So I'm on the other side of this, which I think is good. I mean, this is elite level matchup that it's just like you can't lose for picking one, and then like you'll go back and forth. Like I've gone back and forth, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm all in at this point. Like there's no point in trying to go back and forth anymore. Like my mind's just gonna change if I can convince myself. And like literally, Taz is talking like, yeah, that's some of the things I thought that maybe Bo is right, but I'm gonna stick with Herschel Walker. I think, and the reason being, I think the national championship for me, I think when you look at the people that played around each of them, it's no, we're not going to go in the Jordan LeBron thing right now, but like you can look at the team that played around each of them. I think that Bo Jackson had a better offensive line overall. If like you look at the blocking ability of the offensive line and like the sack rate and things like that was allowed. And obviously pass rushing is much different now than it was then. But I think that Bo Jackson had a better ability or a better blocking ability, and Herschel Walker, like you said, was a power back. Well, he had to be a power back because that line was collapsing all around. I mean, he'd have a choice, right? They were constant pressure on him in the backfield. So to me, it came down to looking at offensive stats in that blocking line and understanding that I think Herschel Walker probably had to work a little bit harder for it. And then, I know that Bo Jackson has the All-American and unanimous All-American, one consensus, one unanimous, but Herschel's got 3 unanimous All-Americans, and he's got that national championship. And I genuinely believe that the reason he got that 3-time unanimous one is because ain't nobody blocking for him at all back in that day. Like he was, you go back and watch film of him in college and like you watch him run, like literally if they were applying blitz, like those rushers were getting in the backfield pretty consistently. And so he had to, and obviously if you listen to him talk, you could tell he had to work for the hard way and had to go and lower that helmet and get some CTE along the way to get to where he is now. But that's why I take it him. I think that he had to do it the harder way. Again, I don't think there's a wrong answer in this one, but that's just my who you got. And if you ask me in 5 minutes, it may be Bo Jackson. So don't ask me again in 5 minutes. What about you?
That's a good one. It is. Man, I'm like you said.
Did either of us change your mind for what you thought you were going to say? Like it's gone back and forth with me on this one.
Yeah, it's been pretty back and forth because I think back of the old games that I've watched. You know what I'm saying? I see Herschel Walker come through and then just plow over people. And then I watched the Cotton Bowl. They played. Who the hell did they play? They played. I want to say Texas A&M maybe. That they ended up playing in the Cotton Bowl, and he threw a little slant to Bo Jackson. He was gone. Like the speed that he had, like you remember? Oh yeah, he was really fast. Or you watched him, and then you're like, damn, you see it again. You're like, he's even faster than I remember. Or even like Herschel, he's a lot more stronger than what I thought. And they're both the same size, 10 pounds difference, same height, 10 pounds difference. And think of the run the SEC had with running backs. Yeah, Herschel Walker from 80 to 82, and then Bo from 80 to 85. I mean, that's insane. Because Herschel Walker, he set the freshman record, NCAA freshman record for rushing yards, and was the first true freshman to be named All-American. He was. He was third in voting in 1980, second in 81, and wanted in 82. And that's because I think back then they didn't give it to underclassmen and played in 3 straight Sugar Bowls. So they need to put a statue up of them there next time we go. But yeah,
right.
I mean, like you said, there's no wrong answer. There isn't. So that's what we like with the debate. Put in the comments, who do you got? Who's your favorite? And trust me, if y'all like this one, we got way more to come. We do. We got some really good ones coming up this season. We do. So, Matt, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our next thing that we have. This is new that we're going to do every show.
So let's jump into the fantasy bracket. I think all of us miss some type of sports, some type of fantasy, some type of something that gets arguing and whatnot. I know that we are under 100 days until we get back into some rankings. And like, I'll tell you what, before we jump into this, I had a notification come through yesterday, and I'll tell you what, boy, it was like, I just got the nicest text ever. It was like way too early, top 25. I was like, it's not way too early, boys. We're under 100 days. Like, let's start talking about some stuff. Let's start seeing some stuff, right? Like, that is where we're at. That's the time to be in. Like, let's start seeing some top 25 stuff. So I think this will help kind of get our crack fix as we get closer to it and start to, put some rankings and start projecting college football playoffs. So yes, let's jump right into the fantasy pick 'em. So let's we're going to start with number 1 and number 8 today. So Steve, I'll kick it to you. And I guess, we'll start with 8, right? Because I think a 1 seed has got to get the home respect.
Of
being picked second from that one. So let's start with the 8 seed and who are you taking there?
All right. In the 8 seed, in the first matchup that we got Matt Patricia and Jeff Grom is the 8 seed, which I think is a solid 8 seed. and I really, the more I did the research today, that I'll go ahead and tell you what I got for
Okay.
Jeff Brom and Matt Patricia. Well, Matt Patricia, this is all college, everybody. This has nothing to do with NFL. Same thing with Carter, who you got. This is college only. That's what we do. So Matt Patricia, small sample size. But number one points per game, 9.3. Number one in yards per game, 219.1. So he was both number one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with a revamped defense where he lost everybody last year. Whenever he came in, all them players got drafted. Come back around this year, number one defense in the country. All them got drafted again. So small sample size. Jeff Brom, he's actually been in the game. Now the way I did this was I based this off of the years they were with the schools, offense, OC, head coach. They had some kind of play in the game, some kind of stake in the game. So, like I said, I'm not a COVID fan. I don't count that year at all. So none of these stats were involved in any of these stats in this tournament because to me that stuff just didn't count. So Jeff Brom, 23 seasons he has, 22 minus COVID. His offenses have averaged 32 and a half points per game and 441 yards per game over 23 seasons. And he's been at some multiple schools. He was at Louisville from '03 to '08, Florida Atlantic in '09, Illinois 2010, 2011, UAB 2012, Western Kentucky 2013 the 20 Western Kentucky 2013, 2015, and then Purdue 2016 to 2021, and then Louisville back again. Yeah. So with that, he's top five 4 times in points per game. He was number one in '04 at Louisville. And then he also was top five in yards per game 4 times. He's had top 10 point per game 6 times, 7 times, then the top 10. And the best year that he had was the '04 Louisville team, where he ended up averaging 49.8 point games and 539 yards per game. So my boy Jeff Brom, 32 and a half points, 441 yards, 8 times over 450 yards per game. And Patricia, 9 points, 219 yards. That 1 seed better come with it if they're going to knock off the 8 seed.
Wow.
Okay, 1 seed.
Yeah.
What we have? Herbie and Lane. Now we've seen that before. We've seen this combo before at the University of Alabama. And we see how that worked. I mean, they took them to the point to where they're at the championship game. Unfortunately, Lane didn't coach his championship game, but we did see how the combination worked throughout the season. It's going to be a tough matchup to beat because you have masterminds on both sides of the ball. You have a guy like Herbie, who doesn't give up much on defense. You have a guy in Lane who can pretty much score at will. So how do you beat this team? You know, when not only can they, coach well, but they got well coached players.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, are we choosing today? Are we choosing who we're going with, or are we in the bracket? I'm gonna go with the 1 seed, man. I'm not sure what you and Steve doing, but I'm going with the 1 seed because I've seen this before, and I think it's a tough task to either stop this team and to score on this team. So there's my take.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing to think about. I think I agree with several things that both of you said. As much as I can't stand Lane Kiffin, and just all the things that come with him, you can't deny that when partnered, especially in this matchup with Kirby, like I think Kirby carries, obviously. I think that if Lane had been partnered with someone else, let's like say Dan Lanning, for example, I would probably give 8 more consideration than what I'm giving it. I just don't think that when you put those two together, like Tav said, you've seen it in Alabama, like you're able to combine the things that they've done over the years. And again, you've seen it in Alabama, putting those two together, like love Matt Patricia, but it's not, NFL Sunday, it's college football Sunday. And I think that, to me, the 1 seed's got to get that just kind of based on some of those things alone. But I want to say I'm giving the 1 seed because Kirby is carrying there. If Lane had been with somebody else, I think I would have looked a different way.
Definitely.
Because obviously, the other part of this, Steve, is really difficult because with Matt Patricia, because it's such a small sample size.
Yeah.
How do I turn my brain off to not look at everything else that he's done outside of that?
3-time Super Bowl center.
How do you not take that into consideration here, though?
Yeah, all right. I hyped up the 8 seed, but I'm gonna have to take the 1 seed too. And I'll tell you what's crazy. Lane's numbers are outstanding. I'll give you that. 35.2 points over 18 years, 463 yards. That's cool. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you on that with Kirby. 18 years, 17 minus COVID. 17 years, his defense only averages giving up 15.1 points a game. 283 yards. Top 5 point per game. 17 years. 10 times. 4 times he led the country in points per game allowed. 8 times. Now, this is a stat that blew my mind. It was. 8 times in his career, his teams give up 14 points or less a game for 8 seasons. That's going to be a hard number 1 seed to knock off. It is. They got the power both ways. They do. But so we're going to call it unanimous. Number 1. On to the next round.
Unless anybody's overriding it, I think we all, as much as we were trying to talk ourselves into making an argument for 8 there, I feel like, this is an Alabama and Texas State football game right now. At the end of the day, like, there's just not enough. Like, I think if this was an NFL bracket, I'm gonna obviously, or was allowed to bring in the NFL stuff. I'm not. So if I was able to bring in the NFL stuff, I probably would make a stronger push.
Now, for everybody else that's listening, we're going to break down the bracket and tell you the matchups. We'll do the number 2 seed on the next episode, so that way it will space out with matchup. But the number 2, we got Brent Venables and Lincoln Riley. That's a solid one. Again, Texas A&M, Mike Elko, defense. Steve Sarkisian, offense. We got an Oklahoma, Texas A&M matchup. We do. On the gridiron. Well, it's make-believe, but still, that's a good matchup. And then, Matt, if you want to introduce the 3 versus 6 game.
Yeah, speaking of, we're going to stay on some Indiana love for just a minute, but I think that this one is also going to be an interesting matchup because, I don't know, like, first of all, I will say I'm glad that you did not put 6 and 7 together, so that way I didn't have to do this the whole time every time we talked about it. But I think when you look at the 6 seed, I think you got some sleeper stats that you can bring up and talk about that I think are potentially dangerous. That can really give. No denying what Signetti's done in a background recruiting from literally scratch kind of standpoint and building it, but. Like, is that enough to say guy can recruit? Like, and that should be, something that you take into consideration. I don't know. I'm excited for the 3-6 matchup because, like, I don't want to spoil too much there. But if you don't know, like, I would start kind of digging into some of those oddball stats and see. So I probably, if you were to, well, you're not asking me to pick right now, so I'm gonna shut my mouth because otherwise I would make a pick right now that, I think you got an upset there.
All right, 7 and 2 seed. This is a good seed also. But
so I will say before you go, I'm sorry. The 7 seed is too low ranked, and I'm just gonna I think that the 7 seed is you can make a case for that 7 seed. I personally, y'all know how I feel about Dan Lanning, I guess. I personally see that 7 seed going into the 4 seed personally, but that's just me.
Okay.
And I can't stand Sark. So, like, for me to say that, it hurts.
Okay, let's do the 4 and 5 seed.
Sorry.
All right. 4 seed. 4 seed. We have Dan Lanning and Ryan Day versus Phil Parker for Iowa, the Hawkeyes, and Kalen DeBoer. So I think this is a good matchup also. Because Mr. Parker, I mean, Iowa is one of the better teams in the country as far as defensive-wise. Their defense probably scores more than any other defense in the country. They actually outscore their offense. So you know you're going to get a few points from the defense. Kalen DeBoer, he's taken some licks before. I mean, like last year. But previously, before he got there, Washington, he's shown that he can score. He can put some points up. And now you have Dan Lanning, which manning that defense, and Ryan Day at Ohio State. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to discussing 4 and 5. So, definitely because Matt, thinks 7 should be higher.
I do. I think get Ryan Day out of there. Get Dan Lanning out of there. Done with it.
I can't trust Sark.
I can't trust Ryan Day.
Yeah, they got chipped. I don't know about Sark. I like this Signetti and Freeman. I think them two together, the great state of Indiana coming together, I think that might do something. And like I said, Venables and Riley, it's going to be some good matchups right there.
Well, I think I've already let my feelings known about where I think this thing should be. So I do think the Venables and Riley matchup is good, but to me, like that is, I'll just go ahead and make my pick there. Like, give me 7 in that next round.
Oh wow! All right, so now we got one more second, and make sure that y'all keep track of all that because it's going to be some good matchups. It is. It's going to be a lot of fun discussion and everything else for all this.
Okay, so just for clarity, for now, we've only moved into the next round. Which ones?
Kirby and Lane.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm talking a lot of. I'm probably confusing people about let's move this one. This one should be here. So just so nobody gets confused, we've only done the first one, even though there are clear, obvious choices about who goes on next. So.
And then bracket will be updated on the next show, and then we'll do it as it goes along. I gotta sign up for it to advance the bracket. So,
very important.
Yeah. So next thing we're gonna do on these shows too is that there's rivalries, guys, that we've lost because of realignment. I mean, there's games that they play once every 4 or 5 years. There's games they haven't played for 10 or 12 years. I mean, Texas A&M was on the rest for 10 years. USC, Notre Dame ain't playing right now because of the whole playoff thing or whatever. But, I mean, even when we went to the Kansas-Missouri game, that was the first time they played each other in how many years?
14.
Yeah. So every show, we're going to talk about a rivalry that we want to see back yearly, every year. Line them up. Some of them are lopsided, but it's a rivalry game. You know what I'm saying? So here's the one we're going to talk about on this. Is the Bedlam series. So Taz, you want to get us talking about the Bedlam?
Mute. Let's go. Bedlam season. When you mentioned lopsided, you probably was talking about this particular series as one of the series is lopsided. Okay, Oklahoma leads the all-time football series against Oklahoma State 91-20-7. Often referred to as the Bedlam series, which there is a trophy, which is called the Bedlam Bell. Now, one thing I thought was interesting, I I actually got some information on this. Mike Gundy. I mean, I became more familiar with Mike Gundy was there. You know, he was there as a player. He was there as a coach. Mike Gundy, he compiled a head coaching record of 4-15 against Oklahoma, spanning his entire career as a coach, player, what I mean as assistant coach and a head coach. Combined record of 7-26. Now, when you say lopsided, I would say they have to be lopsided because most of my career, I remember Mike Gundy being a part of the series, and it didn't bode too well for him. But except for one area, he did win that last game series against Oklahoma before they moved to the SEC. So if there's any bragging rights on their part, it would be we were the last team to beat you, or we were the last team to win that series. That's the only thing I can see as far as them boasting their chest about. Any take on this, Steve?
You got it, Matt.
Yeah, so it's interesting because you can look at a series like this, and I know that we're going to have other series that we bring up about rivalries we want to return, and you can look at this like Taz said and be, like, why would we want this back? Like it's clearly so one-sided, but this is a pretty passionate rivalry between the fans, if nothing else. Like obviously there's like, when you're in football states like Oklahoma, obviously is a football powerhouse legacy, much as I had to gag saying it, but that is a pretty proud state. Oklahoma State in their prime there for a while, it made it a pretty interesting series. And like, Taz says the Mike Gundy, if nothing else, won the mullet, and he's a man. He's going to let you know I'm a man. So you talk to me, I'm a man. So, we got to make sure that we give him the respect that he needs and deserves. To me, this is definitely a series that I think probably now wouldn't be as interesting as maybe it could have been had OSU kind of maintained their climb a little bit. I feel like, once they kind of leveled out, obviously Oklahoma coming to the SEC against my will, I think that probably, I don't know. I don't see it being something that would be massive now just because of the trajectory of the two programs. But had Oklahoma State continued their climb, I think that would have been a pretty solid thing to continue keeping in place. But it is, it looks lopsided on paper, but if you look at the last several years of that rivalry, it was getting pretty good.
Oh yeah, a lot of games are close. Oklahoma finds a way to win, but a lot of them are close. They are, and Oklahoma State have Barry Sanders, so they got that. But my boy behind me, Billy Sims, was 4-0 against Oklahoma State. He was. So, but yeah, like I said, I think it's a good rivalry. The intensity, I would love to go to that game. I hear it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the battle of people of Oklahoma. It's called Bedlam because there's always something crazy that's going to happen in that game. It is. There's something you're never going to see before, and it's going to pull some way out, or they're going to find some way to lose it, or something crazy is going to happen, or someone's going to win the Heisman, or something in that game. It is. And just for the fans of Oklahoma, it's a game they've been playing since, what was it? I was looking at it just a second ago. Since 1904, when they played in Guthrie. Where that at? Guthrie, Oklahoma. Guthrie. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It was. They played in Stillwater in 06. They did. But, yeah, 120 years. And because one team goes to another conference and another team stays in another conference, we just say, "Oh no, we're not going to play that game. We're going to play directional state of Arkansas. We're going to play southeast of the blind, Louisiana, horned frogs or whatever the hell they are. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to play this game. This is what the fans want. This is what we want as fans is rivalry games because it means more. Like Ted, like you said, they won the last matchup. You don't
Yep.
think them Oklahoma people or Oklahoma State people walking around Oklahoma puffing their chest around and like, oh, you've had some bad years. Yeah, but we beat your ass last time we played. You know, so I mean, I like the rivalry games, and like I said, we're gonna have a lot of them. We are because there's a lot of them that they don't play anymore, and
Yeah.
they ain't. So they got to get that together. But it's
Well,
gonna
as
be
somebody that I do agree, as somebody like you said, when we went to Mizzou, Kansas for the first time in 14 years. I mean, you remember walking around campus and I won't say I felt bad for the folks wearing Jayhawk blue, but I mean, it was as if, I mean, that rivalry never stopped. I mean, I use like anytime somebody was there, like the words that were getting hurled, sometimes objects, things like that, to those poor beakers as they were walking by, like it was as if it never stopped. That's why I said before I said, like, I don't know, it would be as close of a series now, but if nothing else, like the fans deserve this game. Because it's like you said, it's good for bragging rights. It's just good for everybody. Like you can go and cheer your team on. Like if you're an Oklahoma State fan, you're probably going to get dog walked if this were to come back next year. But that's not going to stop you from going into that game and being rowdy and tailgating all day and being excited about the state that you're from. I mean, it's more about that than the school. Like being proud to be from that state and being proud to represent that state. It's something that's powerful.
or like that kid that passed us on the interstate. He wasn't even born last time they played, but he
was real mad. He was real mad. I had Mizzou flags. We were driving over there, and we had Mizzou flags flying up on the windows. We were heading over from Kansas City, and this guy is college. These kids clearly in college on the way from Kansas over get up beside us, and this guy is like tweaking. I mean, he is going crazy about the Mizzou flags flying. He's cussing. He's threatening to try and run us off the road. He's actively trying to get the driver of the car. He's in the passenger seat, trying to jerk the wheel to try and run us off the road and like hollering at us the whole time, middle fingers up. They followed us for about 2 hours, consistently trying to speed up and get around us. Everybody in the car was so tired of this guy. You can see it on their faces. And he is like slapping the dashboard, get up there, catch him. I mean, like maniacal. And all I thought about him that whole game. And when that clock hit 0, and I knew that he had that 3-hour drive back to look for me on the interstate so I can give him a wave. And I think I even blew him a kiss at one point, waved at him. I know that he was also looking for me, but in a completely different way than I was looking for him at the end of it. So if nothing else, there's nothing in Oklahoma to do but drive on flat land, give it to the fans so they can flip each other off and try and run each other off the road in a safe way, respectfully, of course. Make them mad, baby. Let's go.
Make a mad, yeah. I'm just laughing at you guys being flipped off by a fan.
We were getting all kinds of stuff tossed at us. Obviously, this is a family show, so I won't say what else he was saying our way.
Most definitely.
He was mad.
The fanatics.
It's one of those things that I wore, though, like with a sense of pride, like just a genuine, this is awesome. Like, I'm never going to be upset about, like, especially when we won. Like, it was just like, I know I entered his pea little brain for just a smidge of a minute, if nothing else. It was great. I hope you guys are muted. Can't hear
long-time fan bases. Oh, man, you got to love it when you beat your rival. Now, you hate it. It hurts. It hurts when you lose. But I tell you what, it's sweet when you win. I mean, to the point where you don't have to say anything. You just say it with your chest.
Yeah. It's especially that one. Like, obviously that rivalry hopefully makes this conversation because I have a ton of details on it. But that Mizzou Kansas rivalry is born in blood. Like it literally is. It's over a war. Like it's bloodshed. So like anytime that comes back, that Kansas guy I think wanted to continue some new bloodshed.
And that's what rivalry is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes it, and that's why we do these back every year. Like I said, we talked a little bit about this one. Like you said, we got Kansas, Missouri. We got Pittsburgh, Penn State. We do. That's another good one. I mean, there's so many that got separated because of realignment and everything. And they try to sell it like, oh, well, we're going to have new rivalries. No, you don't start something 3 years ago and call it a new rivalry. Like I said, they played in 1906.
Yep.
This is a rivalry. They played 90-something times, 100 times. Yeah, the record, Oklahoma's record, 91, 20, and 7. So they played almost 120 times. That's a rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a rivalry. It's just I think one side was more excited to play than the other one.
Yeah, lopsided, but it's still a rivalry. But
well, so let me ask you this,
Shoot.
and I don't know if you can, like I'm curious, like or if you even know, being a Mizzou person like I am, right? I don't think it's a stranger to anybody that knows how I feel about it.
Right.
What I always encounter is like, so I was at a concert this weekend, and it was a 4-day music festival, and there was some alcohol, adult beverages being purchased that I'm above age and able to purchase. And there was a guy that showed up. He like walked across, and the front of his hat said Kansas, and I was like, maybe this guy's just wearing a state of Kansas shirt or hat. And it's not a Jayhawk hat. He goes past the other way, and like I see that stupid bird on the back, and so I instantly just say MIZ out loud, and the other 3 letters that would start with F, and then that representative of the school, because that's the thing they do. You ever hear Mr. Brightside? It's crazy. He turns around, sees me, and is like starts obviously going back and forth. This is why rivalries are great, right? We're at a concert, we're at a music festival, so like we're going back and forth, and then he goes and says, "Yeah, what about basketball?" So he had to bring that in. So I'm wondering if it's closer in that series, because rivalry is a rivalry, to where like Oklahoma State fans are like, what about basketball? What about baseball? We know softball is going to be a beast between both of those. But like, what about that other sport? And I told him, I was like, it's all you got. Like, can't everybody be in everybody's school? Can't be in everything school, right? Like all y'all got's basketball because y'all paid players before it was cool to pay players. So, like that. But it's good for the fans to have that rivalry. We can talk about rivalries all day. It's the most exciting part of college football. It's why it's healthy. It's why it's there. But I just thought it was funny. Like I'm curious if that is what Oklahoma State fans have to resort to at that point, is being like, what about basketball? What about this? We own you in this.
Yeah, I can comment on that, because every year whenever North Carolina come here, I'm a Carolina basketball fan. So every time North Carolina come here to play basketball, I go watch them play. And every time they come here, they beat Florida State. And then outside in the parking lot, everybody's like, yeah, but can you beat us in football? Now look, we're at this sport. We're talking about this sport. And that's the way I see it, like with football. I know this is kind of a one-off of the show or whatever. But yeah, just like you said, whatever sport we're at, or the main sport is football.
Yep.
It is. And then whatever event you might be at, don't ask if I can beat you in another sport. Like we just saw the game. So
Well,
Ted,
it'd be a wild thing for Florida State fans to ask that question for anything right now.
It really is.
Like,
So Matt, you're a Florida fan. What can you talk on the rivalries?
Oh, you guys piss everybody off.
Yeah, we're always in there. I mean, if it's not Spurrier, they're pissed at Tebow. If it ain't Tebow, I mean, they're pissed at, who knows, Joakim Noah or somebody. But we boast a lot about it. But I tell you what, we have to be careful at times, because when we lose, they let us know. I mean, they drive it in, But that's fan bases. I mean, nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to be the burial of somebody else's defeat. No, if I beat you, I mean, they can beat us in golf and boast about it. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can lose in soccer. They'll boast about it. It's like, yeah, but what about this main sport? But they don't want to talk about that. They want to find a ways to get the up on you. Always get the up on you. So Matt, I feel you when they say, okay, what about basketball? They don't want to be a brunt of a loss. I mean, it's school versus school, fan base versus fan base. That's part of it, But the big thing is you want to come out the majority of the time on the winning side.
Right.
But like I said, as far as Florida State, they can't boast about, okay, you may beat us in a basketball game, but you can't boast because I always go higher. I'll say, well, what about championships? How many championships you had? So people are going to always come up with something to win. So it's part of it. So.
Yeah, I was thinking as you were talking, like in Florida was brought up, like Mizzou has, some forced rivalries, like Arkansas is a forced rivalry. Like we have Kansas, obviously can't stay in Kansas. Oklahoma's a pretty good rival, always has been. But like when you think about Florida, like going to the 9-game SEC schedule, and I realize that's not what this week is about, but like Florida could just about fill their schedule with nothing but rivals when you stop and think about it. Because like obviously the hate between Florida and Tennessee is massive, right? That's a massive rivalry game. Then you've got Florida, Georgia, which is massive, like world's largest cocktail party, right? Massive. You got Florida LSU for the Battle of the Throne Cleat. You've got, and honestly, there's some stuff outside of that. Like you can make a case for Florida, Alabama there with the Tebow years and like what that did there. And then
championships.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so you can almost fill half of the SEC schedule alone with just people that are considered rivals for Florida. Now let's add in Florida State, right? Miami, which I think is one that probably needs to be revisited about bringing back Florida, Miami every year, because that was, a beatdown of big, just monster men all the time, right? Like that was the defense of just hell. Yeah. So there's 7 games already of what would be a schedule for like dedicated true rivals. And now that I think about it, and this is going to lead, I think later down the road, a different show, but like who has the most rivals, like technically rivals in sports?
Right.
Because Florida's got to be one of the top 5, I would think, of just people that like they beef with.
We're hated.
Yeah, rightfully so, as I'm going to say. But I think, the top is hated, right? Like Alabama's going to be another one that's in that conversation. Georgia, because of the rivalries over the years. Georgia and Auburn is one that like is probably not a super close rivalry. They always play each other close, no matter what Auburn's record is. But like that's a rivalry game, no matter. Yeah, I'd be curious to see who, like on paper, probably has the most rivalries.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of great ones. There is. And that hatred. Like even now, I worked at U of H and I hate Rice. I hate them. That's the first, every time I buy the video game, that's the first team I pick and I beat their ass on the video game is Rice. I do. They cost me a championship ring. Cross town, they're uppity doctors. Oh man.
Oh, this is hilarious.
You might beat us on the field, but we're gonna rob you in the parking lot.
That's the Houston way.
That's it. I hate Rice. I do.
What's really funny is like having to say like Rice might beat us on the football field. Like that is in itself is hilarious.
You never want to lose the food.
No, that's true.
And
I don't want to lose to an owl either, though. Like it's not great.
There goes an off story. When I was at U of H, I wish I still had the shirt. They was walking around, where they changed the first letter of the word or whatever, and it was like Ruck, Feist. Well, I didn't switch the letters. So we got done with practice right before, and they broke it all down or whatever, and I just took off my shirt and I was like, "Let's go!" And you can see I didn't switch letters. I did it. I can't stand that school. Okay, and then that year we ended up being like 84-14 whenever they came to our house in 2009. But that was a good one. And I drank beer out of the Bayou bucket. That was the
that's cool
tradition. Yeah, the tradition after the game. You put alcohol in there and then drink out of the Bayou bucket. You do.
It's funny that you brought up the name change thing because, like, obviously the Mizzou Kansas thing. Kansas does that too. They say Muck Fazoo, and I had to make sure I said that very slowly. If you ever listen to Mr. Brightside, Mizzou ain't changed. We're full sending it no matter what. Doesn't matter. Like I think I sent Steve a video. I may have sent it to you, Taz. I'm not sure, but like there was a baseball game in St. Louis, and St. Louis is 2 hours away from, it wasn't even Mizzou night, and Mr. Brightside was played in Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And the section, the Tarps Off section in St. Louis right now, started chanting the FKU during Mr. Brightside at a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game. And passed the vibe check. But they did not change the letters. It's full send. So I appreciate you that you did that, Steve.
And the main thing with rivalries that you want to win the trophy. I mean, that's the most important thing, right? I mean, dude, you will not believe how many trophies that these rivalry games. I swear, almost every Big Ten game has a rivalry trophy, but we got one for this one. If you want to introduce it, Matt, that a lot of people don't know nothing about this one, so I'm gonna flip over to it. And you can introduce.
Yeah. So, what may be the trophy that makes everybody the hungriest in college football for sure? The battle for the bones. You can see the trophy there. It's a battle. It's a battle for between the Memphis Tigers and the UAB Blazers. And you wouldn't think like those two teams would be in a rivalry, and you're not really familiar with those two because it is not really two football powerhouses, right? I mean, you think about UAB, who I think has lost a football team, and then the football team came back, and and this literally is a rivalry that is based on barbecue, and we all love barbecue. It's something we can get behind and be like, you know what? If this is a rivalry, at the end of it, we could be friends at the end of it and go eat this slab of rabs because it is a bronze set of baby back ribs that's at stake. Because if you think about Memphis is known for Elvis and barbecue, and that's pretty much it. What I did not realize, though, Birmingham's barbecue game is as strong as it is, and in the Alabama white sauce that comes from Birmingham, and that style of barbecue of hickory and things like that, like it's a pretty prominent thing too. So going back and forth, this is going to be another one with this kind of a similar record. I think the trophy has stayed in Memphis more than it unfortunately has in Birmingham. Memphis currently leads that series 39-11 overall. So they first met in basketball back in the day before it moved over to football. And again, UAB's football team kind of took a little bit of a hiatus and is now back. And but this is a trophy that is a trophy nonetheless. Do you know where it currently sits, though? With that record, understanding that in the football series, UAB leads 11-7. Overall, Memphis leads 31-11 in basketball. But do you know where it currently sits? In coming back home to UAB, it had stayed in Memphis from 2012 to 2023. There was no game played between that time. So it sat collecting bronze dusts. And the ribs were going bad in Memphis. Came back in 23, came back again in 24. That trophy resides for the first time since 2011 in Birmingham, as the UAB Blazers beat Memphis last year 31-24.
Yeah, and I like this. I mean, because it's new to me, but it's actually a fairly new rivalry. It started around 2006, something like that. Like Matt said, it spanned across multiple sports. So, and this is probably one of the few, I would say, trophies that span across multiple sports. Because normally, the trophies for football or basketball or whatever, but this one actually was, for football and basketball. So, I'm interested. Like I said, it's fairly new to me, but I'm interested to learn more about it. So,
it's a strange one. I think when you can, I wonder. I bet the tailgating of this game is like where the bragging rights really are.
Oh yeah, they say that they have a barbecue contest. They do. So, I mean, I'm sure.
Who judges that? How do we get College Football Sunday judging the barbecue contest?
See, that's what I'm looking at, because tickets ain't gonna be that much to go to that game. And man, that'd be some good barbecue. I'm sure we can get into the media relations peoples or something and see what we can do. Heck yeah, I would love to do that. I'd love to be part of that part. Because that thing weighs 94 4 pounds. It does. A bronze rack of ribs. And you know what's crazy? You know how I ended up finding this? Which I ain't gonna act like I knew about this forever. I was watching the game last year, and UAB was upset Memphis when Memphis was doing good at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
And Chris Mortensen's son is the head coach there. And Chris Mortensen had just died from ESPN. His dad did. And he was coaching. I think this was the first game afterwards, or he had just got it or something like that. So the UAB ends up upsetting Memphis, and they're talking to him and everything. I was like, man, that's really cool. That's really cool. And I see him carrying this thing, and I'm like, what is that big old thing? I said, hold on, I gotta Google this and look it up. And I looked it up, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, we gotta reach out. And this is another one, like you said, for 12, 13 years they didn't play.
Yeah, it's a long one. We can go be pressed there, eat some ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Because Memphis was ranked 22nd, I think, when they got knocked off by UAB.
Mm-hmm. I'm down for it.
Well, and if you think so, some of the notable, and UAB has put out, like, if you look back at, I think they had a streak there, like 2001, 2, 3, 4. Do you know who played football at the University of Alabama, Birmingham between 2001 and 2004? That you're going to be like, holy cow, did not realize. When you will realize it when you hear it. But, and that, by the way, UAB won it all of those years during that time period. UAB holds the streak of 7, or the longest streak in this rivalry.
Who was there?
Roddy White.
Oh.
Roddy White.
Receiver.
Yep, the Falcons receiver recorded 10,000 NFL career yards in his NFL. Was the first round pick out of UAB. Their only, by the way, first round draft pick from UAB. And they wanted all those years that he was there because nobody else can catch that ball. And he does go to a ton of the UAB games still. So he may be one of the judges for the barbecue one. I feel like that's a good one. You've also got a couple of other standouts that I did not realize. And I'm not like locked in on UAB right now for some reason. It's strange. We're going to go here for a minute. But yeah, Darius Williams, cornerback, like the standout there, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champ. He went undrafted as a free agent from UAB and became a starter, winning Super Bowl with the Rams. So Darius Williams went to UAB from 2014 to 2017. A couple of other notable NFL Blazers that came from UAB while I'm on it. J.J. Nelson, wide receiver, drafted to the Cardinals. He was one of the fastest guys ever recorded at 40 time. Came from UAB. So definitely it seems like, potentially wide receiver coming out of there. You had Jordan Howard. He did transfer to Indiana, but he did start at UAB before he ended up being the running back in Chicago. And then Joe Webb. You might remember Joe Webb? Quarterback. You guys, I'm sure when you were at U of H, you probably remember Joe Webb, right? Yeah.
We took his ass out.
That's right. That's right.
P. Hunt cut off the head and laid him down.
That's right.
He was on the ground twitching. He was. I'll never forget that. Philip Hunt, that's my boy, DN. And he came wrapping around the edge, and they blew the whistle, but he just came around. Boom! And laid him down in that game. Yep, I remember him.
You guys hit him so hard. Do you remember? So he actually made it. He was drafted by the Vikings, but he was a quarterback. Do you know what he played in the NFL? What position?
Receiver?
He was a receiver. Another one from wide receiver U.
Wide receiver U.
So when we go, if we get press credentials, at the UAB game, I'm getting a WRU shirt with a blazer on it. I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to hype up and hopefully get to judge that barbecue contest.
WRUAB.
That's right. See? Wide receiver university there. I don't know who the wide receivers coach is, but they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, because UAB didn't they have a brief hiatus where they actually canceled the football team?
Yeah, altogether. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And they came back storming.
They did. They came back really strong. I think they were like 5 or 6-0 when they came back, and then they struggled. They had struggled coming back, and the end of the season on the high note, beating Memphis when they came back.
Right.
Pretty dope.
I got something that Matt brought up we want to talk about. On tomorrow night, everybody, 8 a.m. Eastern, there is a link on the Twitter account for the college football video game. They're going to break down everything tomorrow night on YouTube. You can go to the Twitter account, check it out, watch it live, see what's going on. They got some MVP Plus thing. You get like a beta trial. You can. So I'm gonna probably waste money and sign up for that tomorrow. Because you're supposed to get it from June 6th to the 9th, through the weekend.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and sign up for that. And you get 7-day early access. So I'm really excited about that. What you got, Matt? What do you think about it coming out?
So I am stoked because, again, all you've got are rumor mill stuff right now. You've got some kind of, I think leaks are planted, by the way, for this stuff, but just to kind of create the conversation and start creating the buzz early. That's my tinfoil hat thought of the night. But I'm excited to start playing with some NIL stuff in this game this year. If it holds true and it comes out like they're saying it's going to, like the transfer portal being a huge part of it, because like literally, I think that was the thing with 26 that nobody really cared about because we were all so stoked to have the game back, right? But the transfer portal is the reality of college football. And when you're in a dynasty and you're trying to encourage transfers and all you can do is just press a button, right? Like there's no budget. There's supposed to be a budget now that you have. And they could literally not change a thing from last year though. And I'm just stoked to be here. I am so excited to have a college football game back and be able to play it. I am still playing in my dynasty from last year's release pretty consistently when I'm not whooping up on Steve whenever he wants to grab sticks. I was really bad for those that are wondering. It was real bad. But I think it's great. I think go back to the NCAA comment real quick. I think that as the game continues to evolve, and that game, I can't remember what the sales were for that game last year, but it was mind blowing what they sold in pre-orders and after it came out, and it's still selling, right? Like it's huge. The NCAA is going to have to figure itself out because like pay for players and sponsorships and everything else is only going to continue to increase with video games now being back. And like naming rights being such a huge thing and stuff like that, they've got to get a committee to figure this out ASAP. Otherwise, like I know that they've changed the transfer portal. They closed one, put some rules behind it. I think that's great. But who's enforcing the tampering on the other side of it? Nobody, right? We all know it's still going on. Nobody's enforcing it. So as these kids start to make money, they've got collective bargaining basically going on with who gets what for profit sharing and stuff like that. College football is only going to continue to evolve, and not just in a like United States product. When you've got video games that can be played all around the world, it's going to become worldwide, like Madden and stuff like that. The more visibility that goes into this and the hype that's around it, we're just going to have to really, I know the NCAA is not in a hurry to do anything, but there's got to be some decision, some movement. Some coaches have got to get together and, put a council in. And then, I know the college expansion conversation happened already, but like, before you expand that, you've got to figure out how people are playing and paying and who's sponsoring that and things like that. So I love the game. I'm stoked to manage the NIL. I'm stoked to start out. Last year I started out as a proud coach of the Delaware Blue Hens. Go Hens. And I think my first couple of seasons I won 1 or 2 games and earned my way out of that Delaware as quick as I could. But I'm excited to see where I'm going to start this year. And the lowest, I will say my closest college to my house is now expected to be in that game as a Division II school, I think, moving up, University of West Florida. So if I could start there, go Argos, whatever it is. I'm going to start there and try to make my name there.
Well, Steve's trying to get me to come out of retirement. I hadn't played in years. So thinking about it, Matt. Thinking I'm coming out and get back into the flow of things. So, you may be seeing me online. We may lock up here at some point.
Let's go. Hey, listen, I will contribute to the fund if that's the case, if that's what's needed, because I begged Steve, and obviously I should have not played him as quickly as I did when the game came out last year, because I begged Steve to let's start a dynasty. Let's do an online dynasty together several times. And I trust me, my work schedule is crazy. Like I'm right now in Raleigh, North Carolina, right now. I know how big fans of Raleigh up here in the schools that are here in Raleigh. So, and pretty close by, aren't we, Steve? So I got Duke stuff everywhere. I'm just kidding. But I will travel with an Xbox if we get a dynasty going and we get an online dynasty going. And we
I'm coming. I'll be back soon.
You heard it, folks. It's recorded. It's live.
I'll be back.
That stays on the internet. We're getting an online dynasty, and we're going to go out and crush it. And then, hopefully I can face one of y'all in a national championship and BTA it. But I am all in, Steve. I'm getting the early beta. I'm paying for it too. Like, send it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I am. I'm ready for it tomorrow so I can watch it. The crazy part is, what was it? The year before last with the video game, I started with UL Monroe.
That's right. Who
ended up being y'all's running back. And he won a Heisman with me at UL Monroe.
He got close to winning a Heisman in Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, what? Ahmad Hardy? I was like, that's my guy in the video game.
I hope that we still get to keep him in the game, even though he's recovering right now. So
yeah, hopefully he'll be back and better.
I saw it. So the release for the game rankings came out, and believe it or not, like I think he's ranked like a 96, 97 overall this year coming back. I hope they don't take him down for the gunshot. I really need him to run all over everybody on that game.
His agility went down.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure. I don't know, man. Apparently he got away from that place, so I think you should have given bonus points. Did you get shot in the leg? Yeah, and you're able to get away from there. That's breaking a tackle. That's Herschel Walker style, and that's why he was winning
that. All right, everybody. I think that's a good way to wrap up this show. I think we had a really good show tonight. Like I said, we're going to be trying to do this more often. There'll be shorts, there'll be videos, YouTube, I forgot to say, and ask, and all the friendly stuff again. Please like, subscribe, download, follow, do all the great stuff that lets everybody know that you listen to us. It helps us out. It doesn't cost you nothing. Just let you know whenever we drop something new that you don't miss what's new. So we're trying to do 2 shows now a week. Try to do a Sunday show and a weekday show because right now nobody else has anything else out there. The people I listen to on podcasts have 1 show a week, and it drives me insane because I listen to it before it comes back out again on my way to work every morning. So, like I said, I really want to do this more often like we're doing it. I think we did a really good show. Matt, you got anything before we go?
I don't think so. Counting down the days. The clock's a ticking.
Yeah. Taz, hold on. You got anything?
No, he's muted. There we go.
Right, I got you. Yeah, I'm like Matt. I'm counting down, man. I mean, once we get through the month of June, things are going to be hyper speed. I'm getting ready.
Well, and once we get through the month of June, got an online dynasty we need to get into. So
that's it.
The clock is on for that.
Yep. And we got media days in July. We do. So hopefully we'll be going back up to Charlotte again. So I can ask Brent Key about how that would have worked out if they played at Piedmont Park instead of in the Georgia Dome. So another funny story with that real quick before we let you go. Me and Matt went to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl last year. And I told him, I said, man, there's one thing I got to get. I got to get a picture of Piedmont Park because of the whole discussion that y'all can go Google or whatever with his answer to me about them not playing at home and then playing in the Georgia Dome. So there's an intersection. It's like 2-3 lanes going this way, and it tees off to it. And there's the sign. The sign is right there. I said, that's a sign. I said, damn. I said, how am I going to get a picture? I said, hold on. I pull over, put my blinkers on, hop out, put the cone behind the truck, walked on over there, took my selfie, came back, threw the cone in the back, turned the blinkers off, and we took off. And can see started to run through some rough neighborhoods where we saw some fights and all kinds of craziness and police. And we made it to the Georgia Dome, watched Indiana blow out Oregon. It was a great time. So another story for another time. But all right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. And like I said, be sure to follow us, like us, do all that good stuff, and we will see y'all on the next.
Yep. Remember, Wu-Tang's for the children.
It's college football Sunday with Steve, Matt, and Taz. Talking like we're legends in the student section stands. Same old couch, same cheap snacks, same old bets we never track. Yeah, life hits different when the squad comes back. College football Sunday with Steve, Matt, and Taz.